Hi, this is Tim and welcome to the Mathly YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at a problem that was requested by one of our viewers. Remember, you can always send us requests for problems to do and we'll be sure and get to as many of them as we can. This problem comes from Middle School Sprint Round number 12114. So let's take a look at what we've got here. This is ultimately going to turn out to be kind of a logic problem, right? We're basically going to go through a series of steps asking, what do we know and what does that imply? Jackie wrote down a positive whole number. Julian added the positive factors that are greater than 1 and less than Jackie's number, right? So we're basically looking, we don't want the 1 and the number itself. We just want everything in between. And that number was the square root of Jackie's number. Let's find out what that means first, and then we'll talk about this 10th smallest value. So first off, if the sum was an integer and it was the square root of Jackie's number, we were told that in the problem, then Jackie's number has to be a square. Okay, so if Jackie's number has to be a square, what else do we know? Well, anytime you have a square, its square root is also a factor, right? So 81, 9 is a factor of 81. 225, 15 is a factor of 225. Right, so that square root is a factor, but we're also told that the sum is the square root, right? Now, if the square root is a factor, and that's one of the things we're adding up to get the sum, but the sum is the square root, then that means there aren't any other numbers that we're adding up, right? So in between 1 and the number itself, the only factor we have is the square root. What does that tell us? First off, think about this, right? If I have the square root of a number being a factor of the number, which of course it's going to be if it's an integer, then any number that's a factor of the square root also has to be, right? Like if A goes into B and B goes into C, then A goes into C. That's what we're using here, right? So anything that's a factor of the square root is also going to be a factor of the original number. But we were already told that the whole sum is just the square root, right? There aren't any other numbers. So the only factors that we could have are the square root and 1 itself, right? Remember, we're excluding 1 from the sum to begin with. So what do we know about numbers where the only factors are 1 in itself? That means they're prime, okay? So in particular, it tells us that the square root is going to be prime. It also turns out that any prime number we choose will work, right? So you take 7 as a prime that's also a square root of a number. Okay, so 49, right? If the original number was 49, then we add up all the factors of 49 that are between 1 and 49. Well, 7 is the only one, and it is the square root of 49. And you can do that with any prime number and see that that's true. So what we need to do is find the 10th smallest prime number. So let's go ahead and write out some prime numbers here. You can probably do this off the top of your head, right? We've got 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, and 29. All right, so 29 is important here. It's not the answer to the problem, of course, right? Because what we find out is that the square root of the number is prime. We want to know what Jackie's number is, right? And each one of these primes that we have here are going to give us a possible value of Jackie's number once we square them. So all we have to do is take this 29 and square it. 29 squared, you should probably have your squares memorized up to 32 anyway, because it's going to make calculations faster on a lot of these problems. And as long as you know your squares, you realize that 29 squared equals 841. And that's going to be our answer. And that's how it's done. Hi, everybody. This is Tim. Hope you're enjoying our videos. If so, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that sort of thing. But what I'd really want to invite you to do is to send us an email at media@mathleague.org. Tell us which problems you'd like to see us cover next in our video series. Take care and see you in the next video.